Good morning. Thank you. I feel like I might be giving a lecture later. Welcome to Homecoming Weekend featuring arts and culture at Penn. According to my name tag, I'm Trip Hornick, class of 2002, and I am a member of the Arts and Homecoming Host Committee. This year, we are celebrating 11 years featuring arts and culture, and we are very glad that you could join us. Our goal is to provide even more opportunities for you to come back to campus and to continue to enjoy the diverse and stellar arts and culture organizations that we have here. In future years, we plan on continuing to improve the caliber of our offerings and to continue to increase the visibility of arts at Homecoming. If you have any ideas on things that you think should be highlighted, please do not hesitate to reach out. So please enjoy this weekend and this lovely yet chilly weather. And now I am absolutely delighted to introduce the Vice Dean of Advancement for the School of Arts and Sciences, Jean Marie Neely.
Thanks so much, Trip. I'm going to go off script for a moment because you made such a good plug for arts and culture to just invite everyone to join us on College Green at 4:30 for the, I've lost count, but for the Blut Band Slam. It's great fun. We have student and alumni bands in competition, and it's a wonderful way to cap off hopefully a win against Cornell. So let's get started. I'm so pleased to see so many of you and so much red and blue in the audience. Welcome to 60-Second Lecture. This has been a popular program with our students and faculty during the school year for a long time, since 2003. 5 years ago, we decided it was time to let our alumni get in on the fun, and we started to do this on Alumni Weekend and also Homecoming Weekend. It's not so easy to sum up a subject in just 1 minute, so please bear with everybody and don't time them. But today we're going to hear how 10 alumni, backed by the power of their Penn education, are impacting their communities and the world as critical thinkers, problem solvers, and leaders. So let's get started. Our first speaker is Alec Webley, and Alec graduated in 2011, and he majored in political science and classical studies with a minor in English. In 2009, he was the second runner-up in the Joyce Kilmer Memorial Bad Poetry Contest. I hope we're not going to get any bad poetry today. He is currently the law clerk to the Honorable Jeffrey Aker Meyer in the U.S. District Court for the District of Connecticut. And today, he will give us an ambulance-chasing approach to protecting the right to vote. So please welcome Alec Webley.
Thank you very much. I just have a few thousand verses that I would like to go through. My dream on graduating from Penn was to be a voting rights lawyer, but I learned in law school that the business model for voting rights law is essentially non-existent. A plaintiff's lawyer usually makes her money by filing a lot of lawsuits on a contingency basis and then uses the fees from the cases she wins to make up for the cases she loses. But voting rights lawyers do not get money damages. What they get is injunctions against laws or practices restricting the vote. And so if they get fees at all, they're statutory fees that they get only if they win and only a percentage of what they spent. For example, plaintiffs who sued to strike down North Carolina's declaredly racist restrictions on voting about 5 years ago spent $21 million on the lawsuit, but could only recover $7 million in fees despite winning. This is why most, if not all, big voting rights lawsuits are paid for by donors, either by folks giving to nonprofits or by lawyers donating their time. But this is a modern development. In the founding era, voting rights lawsuits were fought for money damages. Lawyers made a decent living suing government officials for damages when those officials wrongfully suppressed citizens' right to vote. How can you put a price on the vote, you might ask? Well, the same way you put a price on Picasso. And speaking as a lawyer, we think that price is very high. Better economic incentives are needed if we want to protect our democracy at every level. There are 500,000 elected officials in the United States of America. There are 10,000 elections that happen every single year. We can't monitor and protect democracy on donations alone, and we don't have to. America, it is said, has too many lawyers. But it might be more true that our lawyers simply haven't been incentivized to sue for the right things. Let's make suing corrupt and anti-democratic politicians more profitable than suing supermarkets with slippery floors. By bringing back the founders' understanding of voting rights as monetary loss, we can truly make voting rights great again. Thank you.
Thank you, Alec. Up next is Lisa Nass-Graybell. Lisa was a double major in American history and political science, and she graduated from the college in 1993 and from Penn Law in 1996. She was one of the founders and the second president of Penn's Social Planning and Events Committee, known as SPEC, which is now 30 years old. And now her daughter, Alexa, a first-year student here at Penn, volunteers with SPEC Jazz and Grooves Committee, so we love to see that family connection continue. Lisa is a food and travel writer for Hilton Mom Voyage, a blog about real families and their travel, and she also does some freelance work. She's going to share with us top 10 tips from an expert travel writer. Lisa.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. After visiting 30 countries, here's my top 10 travel tips. First, apply for TSA PreCheck and global entry. Speed through airport security without taking off your shoes, removing your laptop, removing liquids. Whiz by customs, helping you get onto your connections on time and home faster. It's really worth every penny. Second, prepare for the worst. Pack an emergency travel kit with all the biggies: Neosporin, Imodium, Advil, Benadryl, Dayquil, Pepto, prescription medication. Also, don't forget a spare set of contact lenses. When you go abroad, it might be impossible to find them. Buy travel insurance, such as Allianz. An accident while traveling could result in a fortune in medical bills. And before the trip, take your camera out and take photos of all of your documents, as well as your ATM and credit cards, and email a copy to yourself as well as a friend at home. 3, stock up on apps. I swear by Google Translate. It will help you avoid ordering the deadly puffer fish when you go to Japan. Download Gas Buddy for cheap gas, Sit or Squat for clean bathrooms, Gate Guru for airport security wait times, and destination-specific apps like walking tours and transportation. 4, chow down like a local. Book a food tour to sample some of the local foodie delights. My mouth waters thinking about hungry birds in Amsterdam, food tours of Stockholm, and secret food tours in Dublin. Eat where the locals eat. 5, find freebies. Traveling is expensive, so seek out online lists of free festivals and attractions, such as Sandeman's New Europe Walking Tours and London's British Museum. 6, build in splurges. A few well-chosen splurges can make your vacation priceless. Hire a travel photographer to capture the joy of your vacation. Take a private waltz class in Vienna. Contact Get Your Guide to book once-in-a-lifetime experiences around the world, like a sunset gondola ride in Venice with musical accompaniment. 7, segue around town. You can cover a lot of ground while seeing the sights from a different angle. It's particularly great for people who have children 12 and up. We love zipping up and down the hills of San Francisco. We really did that. Also gliding under the painted porticos in Bologna and going along the waterfront in Copenhagen. Do this at the beginning of your trip so you get a lay of the land. 8, book airfare like a pro. For the lowest rates, book on Sundays and don't book on Fridays, and also try to book 6 to 8 weeks before you go. Try Google's ITA Matrix, Google Flights, Momondo, and Skyscanner. 9, take the kids. Don't underestimate your children. Write up fun, amazing race type style clues and challenges, put them in sealed envelopes, and give them to bellhops and waiters to surprise them along the way. Build in lots of downtime and snack breaks. And 10, and I think most importantly, pack light. Don't check your bags. Lighten the load and carry on. Lay out everything you want to pack and then take out half of it. It's really all you need. Then you never have to worry about lost luggage or baggage fees. If you plan some, get out of your comfort zone and go with the flow, you'll catch a bad case of wanderlust like me. Happy traveling. Thank you.
Lisa, I think you need to add an 11 tip to your list there, and to satisfy the question, where do we get the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia? So That might be controversial, I don't know. By the way, all of these are going to be available online, so if you were trying fast and furiously to write down those tips in the 60 seconds she had, you don't have to. You can go back and get them again. So thanks very much. All right, our next 60-second lecture is brought to you by John Adraktis, who graduated in 1998 with a major in mathematics and a minor in philosophy. John is CEO and founder of Encircle Labs in San Mateo, California. Like Lisa, he has a passion for travel and has visited more than 40 countries and 40 states so far. And I suspect, I know John, I bet he does pack light. Today, he's going to discuss the deconstructed career. So please welcome John.
Three dimensions, based on conversations over the years with friends, colleagues, and deep personal reflection. May prove useful to you all. First, function. Second, vertical. Third, stage. So by function, think of it as the business function that you choose is a lens into the work that you will do, a way of thinking. In many ways, you could say it parallels kind of a choice of a major. It will define what you're responsible for. Two, vertical. In what domain will you apply yourself? There are so many to choose from. For some, consumer, enterprise, physical goods, data, digital, services. Finally, stage. When you think about stage, it's like a spectrum. On the one hand, high commitment, passion, low to no resources. Some might call that a startup. On the other end of the spectrum, ability to impact at scale. And picture you may be at the level of a global organization, maybe even touching billions of people. As you think about each of these, don't be surprised if one of them becomes kind of your defining dimension, the one that you see everything else through. For some people, it might be a function, and they can work across spaces. For myself, the stage of a startup has been kind of the lane that I've enjoyed. Wherever you happen to go, know that your investment in a liberal arts education enables you to think, and I think it will take you very far, particularly at your time here from Penn. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and especially for that comment about a liberal arts education. We could not agree more. Next, we're going to hear from Indiana Baltodano. Indiana is a 2012 alumna who majored in psychology. She is Senior Manager of Strategic Partnership Marketing at American Express, and she is also a certified yoga instructor. The title of her lecture is Harmonizing Ambiguity. Please welcome Indiana.
Thank you. I got into Penn early, landed my first real job at Macy's before spring fling of my senior year. I then, shortly after, got my second job when I realized retail marketing was not my thing. All this to say that I am a planner with a strong certainty for bias. And I am likely not alone. Having clarity over our future makes us feel good, right? It tames our anxiety and makes us feel in control of our lives. And who doesn't want to feel in control? This is why cleanly defined career paths, where each step seems to ladder up so neatly to the next, are so attractive. They seem to reduce the unknowns and offer a perception of certainty. While having a clear career path laid out for yourself is certainly fantastic, and taking some time to plan for your future is wise, becoming too attached to a defined path or a vision of yourself can also be very risky. We risk going through our lives like horses with partial blinders, only able to look at the narrow road ahead and unable to see the opportunities that lie on adjacent roads or maybe even completely different ones. We can miss out on the power of what I call ambiguous opportunities, those callings that do not have a clear relationship to that path or idea of yourself, but can also be incredibly rewarding. Learning to harmonize ambiguity allowed me to pursue a non-traditional graduate degree, experiment as a food innovation strategist, and complete a yoga teacher training, all of which were not part of my original plan, but have been amongst the most rewarding personal and professional experiences of my life. So next time you feel torn about pursuing something that intrigues your heart and mind, don't dismiss it so quickly. Sit with that tension for a bit and maybe explore it a bit further. You might find that it has a very meaningful connection to your life down the road. And after all, that is what your liberal arts education is preparing you to do. See connections where others don't, make sense of opposites, and be eternally curious. Thank you.
Thank you, Indiana. I already feel a little more at peace with decisions I've made and things I'm facing. So terrific. All right. So if we went from Zen, now we're going to go to high energy. We've got our next 60-second lecture speaker is Eddie Chung. Eddie graduated in 1995 with a major in English and is now a director at Citi. Eddie tells me that he still plays Pokemon Go and is looking to make some trades. So if there are any players in the audience, see Eddie after his talk. The title of his lecture is Be Like Water, which kind of sounds like a nice follow-on to Indiana's talk. So please welcome Eddie.
Good morning. While preparing this 60-second lecture and thinking about the words of wisdom that I could share, it seemed only appropriate that having graduated from the college with a BA in English, I should focus on how this major has helped me in developing key skill sets needed and probably valued in any career, as well as reference some of the marquee writers like Whitman, Emerson, and Thoreau, and discuss how their teachings have helped shape who I am, and at the same time might serve as a guide to you. I was pretty sure that this is the direction I was going to move until about 2 weeks ago when I was watching football. And they had an interview with Christian McCaffrey. Not too sure if you guys know who Christian McCaffrey is, but he's probably one of the best running backs in the league, even though he's not an Eagle. He discussed how he and his father found inspiration by the teachings of the martial arts expert Bruce Lee. The wisdom shared was, you must be shapeless, formless, like water. When you pour water in a cup, it becomes the cup. When you pour water in a bottle, it becomes the bottle. When you pour water in a teacup, it becomes the teapot. Water can drip and it can crash. Become like water. I thought about this in the context of the life of a student in the college. Clearly, you are in fact the water. You come into this world without any predetermined notions and ideas of what you're going to be. But throughout your life and particularly throughout your 4 years in the college, you have the ability to move around just like water. It's uncanny, the similarities. Yes, I wanted to highlight the opportunities that the water, one of the key things I wanted to highlight was there's a ton of opportunities where the water could go. But I wanted to note that and argue the most important thing is that being like water, sorry, I've told Jean Marie, public speaking is not my forte. And it freaks me out. I got to do the Usha breathing exercise. Be like water, exactly. Be like water. Think fluid. What I want to know and argue is more important than being like water is the act of becoming. Where being is passive and designates a state, becoming is active and designates an event, a change of state. I challenge you as students not only to enjoy the journey that comes from being like water, but to do it with the purpose of becoming the cup. Thank you.
So Eddie had the unique opportunity to share that guidance not only with us, but with his son, who's a freshman in the college. All right. Next, we're going to hear from David Franz. David graduated from the college in 1989, and he majored in international relations, and he joins us today from Basel, Switzerland. So I think he gets the award for coming the furthest, but I'm not certain of that. He is an artist, a change agent, a disruptor, and his topic today is collaboration in the new new. Please welcome David.
Good morning. Collaboration is the new that always was, always is, and always will be. I'm a proud member of Penn's class of 1989. Yes, I am an artist. Dance is my specialty. While at Penn, I was a founding member of the Arts House Dance Company, which I think still is in existence. Currently, I live in Switzerland. I've been there for 10 years. And I'm I call myself a cosmic plumber. So basically, I help people move through systems. We often hear these buzzwords and phrases, diversity and inclusion, innovation. The millennials are coming. So I'm just going to cut to it so it's clear. Things seem to be moving faster. Change seems constant. Life, for many, feels chaotic. People need solutions. They need answers. So collaboration, which is essentially working together, I think is the key. With this in mind, there are 7 reasons why collaboration is a necessary antidote to what we might think is chaotic living. So 1 is that collaboration helps us problem solve. Collaboration brings people and organizations together. Collaboration helps people learn from one another. Collaboration opens up channels for communication. Collaboration boosts morale. Collaboration lays the foundation for a more open, connected, and engaged workplace. And collaboration brings efficiency. To give this more weight, and to conclude, I was in a Whole Foods in New York City, Columbus Circle. And yesterday, while I was waiting in the line, which is really annoying, you know how you have the colors and the numbers and so on, right in front of me, Harvard Business Review, cracking the code on collaboration, right before my eyes. So, of course, it costs a lot of money, and I picked it up. $20. But the picture, I want you to check out the picture. It is a bird. I don't know what type of bird this is, but it's standing on a tortoise, and the tortoise is in the water. So I'm going to leave that to you to figure out what that means. But with that, I will conclude. Thank you very much for having me. Have a great weekend.
All right, so it seems to me that if we take Eddie's advice and become like water, it'll be a lot easier for the cosmic plumber to help us find our ultimate destination. On the back of a turtle, that's right. You've already met our next speaker, Trip Hornick. Trip majored in diplomatic history and graduated from the college in 2002. After graduating, he cataloged the estate of Bing Crosby for the Library of Congress, which allowed him to work at the intersection of his history major and his chosen career. He is currently the producer and managing member of Quint Street Productions. Trip will speak about theater and the power of debate. So please welcome Trip.
Thank you, Jean Marie. It's a pleasure. I'm glad that was the fun fact that we used. It was an interesting time. Now, in its finest moments, theater puts a mirror to society. While this mechanism may vary, for a serious tone provokes the audience in a different way than a comedy in which funny banter is infused with critical commentary, the value is the same. We do not always like what we see. The theater must not attack or marginalize, but the commentary offered advances engagement and provides the platform to spark critical thinking and respectful debate. Respectful debate requires that no voice be canceled, that we listen to opposing views, and we win disagreements based on the merits, not by drowning out opinions with which we disagree. We must all listen, for when we listen and debate, we learn. As we stand here on this beautiful morning at the center of a great institution dedicated to learning, let us all remember this and repeat it to ourselves every day. For learning is a lifelong endeavor. Thank you.
All right, I'm seeing more themes developing. Listening and debating and learning seems to be the avenue to collaboration. So I hope everyone can take something away from all of that. So next, I'd like to welcome Caroline McCaffrey. Caroline graduated in 1996 with a major in international relations. She is now the CEO and founder of ClearOps, which operates at the intersection of cybersecurity and data privacy, something we all talk about all the time. I was just listening actually on NPR about something along these lines coming in this morning. Today, she's going to talk about the choices you make. So please welcome Caroline.
Back in 1740, a ship's captain decided to go out and cure scurvy. If you don't know what scurvy is, it's an awful, terrible, disgusting disease that takes a long time to kill its victim. Back in the and it's cured by vitamin C. In the 1600s to 1800s, scurvy would kill up to 80 to 90% of a ship's crew. This doctor, Dr. Lind, had 12 sick patients on his ship, and he broke them up into 6 groups. 2 he gave seawater daily, 2 he gave cider daily, 2 he gave vinegar daily, 2 he gave vitriol daily, 2 he gave nutmeg daily, and the last 2 he gave oranges and lemons daily. As you can guess, the 2 that received the oranges and the lemons had a full recovery. Now, Dr. Lind wrote and published his findings about curing scurvy, and eventually he got to a position where he could have made a recommendation that all ships carry vitamin C. He did not. It took another 50 years and a different doctor to cure scurvy. I tell this story because I believe ideas and innovations are very important, but it's the decisions you make with the information that you have that really count. I think Penn gives a great foundation for making great decisions. I think everyone can go out and cure scurvy. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Next up is Lloyd Sprung. Lloyd majored in economics and minored in Oriental Studies, and he graduated in 1992. Lloyd and his wife, who earned her MBA from Wharton, met after graduation, proving that all roads lead eventually back to Penn. Lloyd is the managing director at UBS Investment Bank, and the title of his talk is The Bright Side of Restructuring. So let's welcome Lloyd.
Good morning. This is the story about my career progression, which has ultimately led me to the field of corporate restructuring, a field I never even knew existed when I was here at the University of Pennsylvania. My role as an investment banker, I assist troubled companies and their stakeholders in recapitalizing large, underperforming, and over-leveraged businesses. While taking courses in economics and Oriental Studies, I was also able to take other courses, thanks to liberal arts curriculum, in psychology, comparative international relations, and even a course entitled Managing People, in addition to a few Wharton classes. Outside of the classroom, I was involved in numerous organizations. Perhaps the most impactful was my time leading the Model UN Club. Little did I know that the basic diplomacy I would learn in debating Model UN topics would be so useful in my negotiations among hostile constituents involved with a company in bankruptcy, or that my psychology classes would help me act as unofficial psychiatrist to distraught senior management clients. Upon graduation, I ended up at a major investment bank trading derivatives, and at age 24, I was transferred to the firm's Tokyo, Japan office, showing how my economics and Oriental Studies worlds collided. Fast forward a few years, after matriculating at a Wharton rival business school in Cambridge, Mass., and then returning to banking, I found myself yearning for a different role beyond the traditional businesses of securities trading. This is where the invaluable Penn network proved to be so important to my future. My classmate from Penn listened to what I wanted to do, which was get closer to companies and help solve their complex problems, and promptly introduced me to a major bank in the field of corporate restructuring, a place he had worked previously. After almost 20 years in the field of corporate restructuring, having also met many alumni in my profession, I can truly say that my Penn education prepared me for a field in which I'm challenged and have been successful. There's a bright side in the world of corporate restructuring that what we do helps rehabilitate companies, save jobs, and improve communities. It requires well-rounded skills, not only in finance, but also diplomacy, communications, strategy, and psychology. Without the foundation I built at Penn, unknowns to me at the time, I would not be in the position I am today. In conclusion, my message, particularly for those students in the audience, is simple. Embrace all the opportunities Penn has to offer, including those outside of your core academic interests, and explore clubs and activities. You never know where your studies will land you, but with a Penn Arts and Sciences education, you'll be ready. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Lloyd. I'd like to give a warning to our final speaker. No more references to that university north of here. Two is enough. All right, excellent. That's right, MIT. I'm delighted to welcome Ashley Stokes, who will deliver our final 60 seconds of food for thought. Ashley is a 1994 graduate who majored in Asian studies and minored in Japanese. She is a self-employed communication strategist. Growing up, Ashley was in 4-H, and she had a prize-winning sheep. But I'm told we will not hear about that sheep today. Maybe afterwards you could ask her about her sheep. The title of Ashley's lecture is, You're Majoring in What? Ashley.
Okay. こんにちは。ペン大学で日本語を勉強しました。Other than Lloyd, I don't know if anyone else in the audience speaks Japanese and knows that I just said I studied Japanese at Penn. Since I graduated, and I have to be honest, those are the first words I've spoken in Japanese in the 25 years since I left here. So, I'm often asked, oh, you majored in what? Or why did you major in Japanese? Well, it was 1990, I was 17, and I had big plans. I was going to major in Japanese. I was going to minor in econ. I was going to get an MBA, and I was going to move to Japan and have this big international business career, and, life changes. And that didn't happen. I went into public relations and corporate communications, where I have not used my Japanese major. But I would argue that I have used my Japanese degree. I learned a lot about myself here at Penn. I learned Japanese is really hard as a major. I learned that my worst grades at Penn were in Japanese. And I learned that I could overcome that and earn my degree, that I was resilient, that I was up for a challenge, that I could take a risk. I started my own business 6 years ago, and I wouldn't have done that had I not gone here and challenged myself with Asian studies and Japanese. I learned that I can carve my own path. And should someone tell you or question why you majored in what you majored in or are majoring in, or want to know how you're applying it in your career, don't let that stop you. Thank you.
Ashley, thank you so much, and thanks to all of our participants today. Let's give them a final round of applause. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. I especially love to hear the advice about how to put your liberal arts degree to use and the flexibility that it gives you. And Lloyd, you made a really excellent point. You are doing something that you didn't even know existed, and there are so many things that are going to exist that we don't know about today. So if you're learning to think critically and to write and to communicate, you're going to be okay. So you can find this terrific collection of 60-second lectures on the school's website under our events tab, and you'll find our whole history of 60-second lectures, which will probably take you hours and hours to listen to. Thank you again for joining us, and please enjoy the rest of homecoming weekend. If you can brave the cold, do stop by our table, the Penn Arts and Sciences table, which is on Locust Walk, just to the right of the library. So enjoy your day, everyone, and thanks for coming.